Hi everyone. Before you get started with your problem set, I wanted to give you a quick introduction to what we are learning about today. So up until now in this unit of math, we have been learning about shapes, and today we're going to start learning about how to tell time. And the first term that we're going to learn today is o'clock. Again, that term is o'clock. Now, when we are telling time, we use the term o'clock to show that a new hour has just started. Let me say that again. When we are telling time, we use the term o'clock to show that an hour has just started. And I'll explain what that means in this video. All right, now to start, I've drawn a clock, but you might notice that there's something missing. The little lines that are missing from the center, those are called hands. Yeah, those are the hands of the clock. And the hands actually tell us what time it is. Now there are two different hands. There is an hour hand, which is the short hand, and the minute hand, which is the long hand. Let me tell you that again. There is the short hand, which is the hour hand, and the long hand, which is the minute hand. And those tell us the hours and minutes in the time. So let's look at an example. All right, so today we are going to learn what it means when the minute hand is facing straight up at the number 12. And we call that o'clock. So notice how I clap my hands above my head like the minute hand pointing up, and I say o'clock. Try that with me. O'clock. So that's a good way to remember that when the minute hand is pointing up towards the 12, it means o'clock. Now that's the first minute of the hour. So I'm going to add my minute hand going from the center. And I'm going to draw, remember the minute hand is the long one. So I'm going to draw the minute hand facing up towards the 12, just like that. So we know that the time right now is o'clock. The only thing that we're missing is the hour. So now I'm going to draw the shorthand, or the hour hand, which tells us what the hour is. So we know it's o'clock, but we don't know if it's 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I need to draw my hour hand to know what the hour is. So I'm going to draw a shorthand, and let's say it points at the 8. So notice how the hour hand is much shorter than the minute hand. So here's how we read the time. We notice that the hour hand is pointing towards the 8, and we know that the minute hand is pointing towards the 12, so we say o'clock. So we read the time like this: 8 o'clock. Let me show you that one more time. 8 o'clock. Let's look at another example. All right, now in this example, the minute hand is pointing up, so we know it's o'clock. But this time, the hour hand is pointing to the 3. So this is how we would read the time. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. You see how we did that? All right, one more example. Notice how the minute hand is pointing up, so we would say o'clock. But I want you to figure out, what is the hour? Where is the hour hand pointing? This is the hour hand here. What number is the hour hand pointing to? The hour hand is pointing to the 10. So we would say 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. All right. This clock here is called an analog clock. Say that with me. Say analog. This is an analog clock because it has the hands and the numbers around it. It's an analog clock. We can also read the time from a digital clock. Help me say digital. Say digit. Say digital. Digital. And a digital clock is one that you would find on your phone or probably on a watch that has the numbers. So we're going to learn how to write 10 o'clock in digital form. So we start with the hour. We know the hour hand is pointing to the 10, so we start with the number 10. Then for a digital clock, I put these two dots here, just like that. So we have our hour. Now we need our minutes on the other side. And we know that it's pointing up, so we say o'clock. And for o'clock, I put 0, 0. This is o'clock, 0, 0. This means that there are 0 minutes so far that have gone by in the hour. So we have the hour, 10. We have 0, 0, which we would say o'clock. 10 o'clock. Read that for me. 10 o'clock. All right, here's one last example. I want you to try to do this as much as you can on your own. All right, we have our minute hand pointing up, so we know it's o'clock, but what's the hour? Where is the hour hand pointing? What number? The hour hand is pointing to the 2. So what time does this clock show? 2 o'clock. Say that with me. 2 o'clock. Now we need to write the time in a digital form. So we know that the hour is 2. And I need my 2 dots in the middle. Now do you remember how to write o'clock? To write o'clock, we write 0, 0. And now we have the time, 2 o'clock. So let's review what we talked about. Today we learned how to tell time, or we started anyway. We learned that on an analog clock, the one with the numbers around the outside, we have hands. Now we have an hour hand, which is the short hand, and that tells us what hour it is. And the minute hand, which is the long hand. The minute hand tells us how many minutes in the hour have gone by. We know that when the minute hand is pointing up, we say o'clock. Try that with me. O'clock. And we also learn how to write digital time. We write the hour, and then we put those 2 dots, and then we put the minutes on the other side. And for o'clock, we write 0, 0. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your problem set.